I want to start this video by saying I don't actually have an answer, and I don't think anybody does, to the question that's being posed here, but rather I want to go through the possibilities of what could happen. Now, I was at my local GameStop last weekend. It was actually very busy, which is surprising. I was standing behind a mom and a child that were selling their Nintendo Switch and a few games for $160, which ultimately is obviously less than they could have got for it on eBay. But it's families like these that I think play an important role in what the outcome of the GameStop story is going to end up being. You see, GameStop for a long time has looked like it's going to go out of business. It seems like it gets closer and closer every year, and people are kind of parading around its grave here on the internet. But while I did not shop at GameStop much until I finally renewed my PowerUp Rewards membership, and I'm now going there once a month for the sake of spending that coupon, I haven't always been a big supporter of the company, especially over the last few years, but I think that GameStop plays a very important role in making video games be more accessible. And here's what I mean. You take the case of that parent and the young child selling that Nintendo Switch and putting the money towards a PlayStation 4. There's nowhere else the kid could have really done that outside of selling it on the internet or going into a pawn shop. Two things that when I was 8 years old, my parents weren't dying to do. In fact, the case of selling it on eBay, my parents wouldn't even have taken the time to even figure out how to do that. They weren't tech savvy enough to pull it off. So I think that for a lot of people like that, GameStop is the main gaming outlet for them. However, the reason why GameStop's going out of business is because once that kid takes the PlayStation 4 home, he's probably going to find it easier to buy the games digitally using his parents' credit card, or he's probably not going to own that many games in total in general. You'll have a couple games he'll play pretty consistently, but these kids usually aren't consistent buyers of, new games or used games in a physical sense. And they're also the ones that are lining up to go play Fortnite and are just buying skins for that. So that also takes GameStop out of the equation. But I think that getting them engaged in gaming in the first place, I think that GameStop plays a very important role in that. Now, as someone who buys a lot of used games, plays games from the last generation of systems, I'm worried about GameStop leaving the market because of what that could do to the resale market. Now, you see, on eBay, I think the prices are kind of kept in check by GameStop. And we saw this when GameStop began selling retro games. GameStop kind of worked as a way to keep the prices of retro games on eBay in check. GameStop's prices were, for the most part, when they started doing it, very competitive. I know people complain that GameStop's prices are too high. Like, I was just there and I paid $19 for a Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which I'm very excited to play because I enjoyed the Division 2, and I know the game has some shortcomings, but I think I can probably see past those. So I paid $19 for it. It goes cheap as you can get on eBay is $15. Most of them are in the $17 range, so paying $19, yeah, I paid a few more dollars for that used game, but you see, I didn't wait to get it shipped to me. The digital prices for Breakpoint are nowhere near $19, so you can't tell me that I could have immediately gotten it digitally because the digital prices are way too high. So if you wanted a used copy, your options were to wait a week or more for someone to illegally ship it via media mail, because most of the time the cheapest copy going on eBay is someone shipping it by media mail, which you should not ship a video game by media mail. So it's going to take 7 to 10 days to get here. Maybe you pay a couple extra dollars, somebody first class it, so you get it in 3 or 4 days. But still, that price difference to get it at GameStop today is, marginally more expensive in most cases. Then you add in the fact that GameStop has a 7-day return policy where, evidently if you don't like the game, maybe you're able to beat it in 7 days. You could just take it back for store credit, and that's something that obviously you're not going to see people on eBay doing. So I think that those advantages help justify the slightly higher prices that you see at GameStop, and I think that in the reverse, GameStop's prices help keep those eBay prices slightly lower than the GameStop prices. And if you take GameStop out of the equation, I think that we're going to see the eBay prices rise 10 to 15% across the board just because of that lack of competition. So what are your thoughts on the possible closure of GameStop and what that could mean for gaming as a whole? Thank you guys for watching. I'm Bailey, and I will see you in the next video.